got some Falcons practice squad news, Dirty Bird fans. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chad Sports. My name is Moose, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about the 6 players the Falcons have already signed to the practice squad with obviously, or ostensibly, at least to me, more to come. We're going to talk about the Falcons waiver claims, the players that are leaving, and of course, if you love the constant coverage of your Dirty Birds, make sure you hit that thumbs up icon. It helps grow the channel. So which Falcons are heading to the practice squad? At the time of this recording, and I do want to be very clear about that, there are only 6, with the most recent out of the 6 being Carlos Washington Jr., who has signed to the Falcons practice squad. That happened at the time, like I said, about 10 minutes before this one happened. And since then, I have not seen any other notifications about Falcons practice squad members, but 5 before Carlos Washington. And we're going to get into those ones right now. First up being Easton Stick. And we figured that Easton Stick was going to be a practice squad quarterback after he was released by the Falcons yesterday. I had originally said that Stick was going to be a 3rd quarterback on the 53. I was wrong about that. I know. I can't get everything right. But Stick ends up being that practice squad member for the Atlanta Falcons, which I'm okay with, right? I'm very okay with him not making the 53, considering we knew that at this time Kirk Cousins is easily and by far and away your backup quarterback to MPJ. But from a statistical perspective, Easton Stick, look, I'm not going to lie to you, he was underwhelming. I don't want to go as far as to say it was awful, because there were times when he had some really good plays, and there were some times when it did look just absolutely god horrible. I will say, though, thank God for MPJ and Kirk Cousins, because I don't think I could watch another quarter of practice squad quarterback play. As much as Easton Stick has made a career in the NFL as a backup and a 3rd stringer and a practice squatter, I just need to see some good football. I really need to see some good quarterback play. So Easton Stick, great contribution to the preseason. However, practice squad feels like the right play. How about this one? Everybody's favorite UDFA out of San Diego State, Nick Nash. And Nick Nash was a player that a good number of Falcons fans were talking to me in the comment section about wanting him to make the 53-man roster. And the reason I don't think he made it is because the first 2 games he didn't play nearly well enough. We did see against the Cowboys, though, he kind of started to emerge a little bit. In fact, he was kind of one of the lone bright spots for that Falcons offense against the Dallas Cowboys. And when I say lone bright spots, I mean, like, if the room was pitch black, that's like a lighter. Like, that was about it, because that game was just god-awful. He did play well against the Cowboys, but I don't think he played well enough to garner that 6th or 7th wide receiver spot for the Falcons. And can we just take a brief little timeout and talk very quickly about David Sills for just 10 seconds, because I'm still kind of in shock as to why he made the team. You could just bring me up full screen there, Producer Casey. Thank you so much. I really don't get it. I honestly have no idea. After the preseason that we saw from Chris Blair, I'm still scratching my head as to why he didn't make the 53. And there was one specific comment that I read in yesterday's video that said, well, Moose, you didn't have Chris Blair making the 53, so why are you surprised? I also didn't think the Falcons were going to keep 7 wide receivers. So I would have absolutely given that spot to Chris Blair over the likes of David Sills, or get rid of one of the tight ends. Why do you need 4 tight ends? Either way, I'm just digressing. Let's get back to the matter at hand. I apologize for my quick mini rant. I got my producer laughing at me right now. 3rd is Cobee Bryant. And this feels right as well. I don't think the Falcons wanted to part ways with Cobee Bryant just yet. No, not Cobee. But this Cobee Bryant from Kansas, UDFA out of Kansas. Only 3 tackles in preseason, and I feel like he would have gotten a better shot as to making the 53 if not for that hamstring injury that he suffered when he was in the joint practice against the Tennessee Titans, because when he came back to play against the Cowboys, I firmly believe that that injury kind of hindered his ability to play well against the Cowboys, because he just got dunked on. So I'm fine with him on the practice squad. I think he has the ability at some point in his career to make something happen with the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously not this year. He needs to develop his skill. And players like Natrone Brooks came out and played far better than him. So all of those things combined lead me to believe he's an excellent practice squad candidate. Make no mistake about it. So tell me, by the way, because you know my answer, who's a player that should have made the 53? I know there's going to be a lot of people that get in and say Nick Nash, and there's going to be a lot of people that say Cobee Bryant. Mine is Chris Blair. But you can let me know in the comment section down below who yours would be. Now, Chris Blair might not have made the roster, and the Falcons look to have shaved him off of that 53. And speaking of shave, excellent transition there from you, Moose. I know. I'm sorry, that was super cheesy. Let me tell you about today's sponsor, of course. That is Harry's. And listen, all jokes aside, I trust Harry's every single morning to give me the best shave possible. But it's not just about shaving. It's personal grooming all over the place. And right now, Falcons fans, for a limited time, our listeners can get Harry's trial set for only $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/chat. Does your old razor dull way too fast? Does it irritate your neck? Does it also cost way too much? Let's be honest, $20 for a 4-pack of refills is a total scam. That's where Harry's comes in. Each razor has a weighted ergonomic handle that gives you total control. No more slipping, no awkward angles. Feels premium in your hand, balanced for a smoother and steadier shave. They just don't make razors, though. They got everything that you want. They've got a full line of grooming essentials, from shave gel to deodorant to body wash, all thoughtfully made and priced to stock up. And like I said, for a limited time, our listeners can get Harry's trial set for only $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/chat. Just head on over to harrys.com/chat to receive our exclusive discount. After you purchase, they're going to say, hey, where did you hear about us? Please tell them the fans at Falcons Today sent you, and Moose as well. I'll have all of that in the comments and description of today's video. Thank you to Harry's for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to our practice squad guys, right? Because I know that's why you're really here, not just listening to Moose, the hairiest guy you know, talk about shaving. Our fourth practice squad member, and we're actually going to combine these two because they're kind of in similar boats. Carter Warren, who is actually a claim for the Falcons here. They signed him to the practice squad. And same with Ryan Hayes. Both of these guys, offensive linemen that will compete to either be rotational players at some point throughout the season if they get called up, or to be steady depth on this Falcons practice squad as kind of like a tapping into the well. So let's start with Carter Warren. He's a former 4th-round pick out of the Jets, was actually just waived yesterday by the New York Jets, and obviously the Falcons, having a need after the Storm Norton and Caleb McGarry injuries for offensive linemen, are prioritizing getting some depth. So I can't fault the Falcons or Raheem Morris at this point for going out and getting the likes of a guy like Carter Warren, or even Ryan Hayes, who's a former 7th-round pick for the Miami Dolphins. Out of these two, who would I think is a better player, not just on draft stock, but from what I've read, it would be Carter. Carter Warren would be the better player, so we'll see what happens if there is like a same-day designation or something along those lines for the Atlanta Falcons. But right now, it looks like Elijah Wilkinson and Jarrell, the most recent trade that Michael Jarrell from the Seattle Seahawks, thank you, producer Casey, is going to be competing for that starting right tackle role. As more signings come in, my friend, don't worry. We'll keep you updated. And like I said at the time of this recording, only 6 have happened. So in the event that another one comes in, I'll make sure to pin a comment on today's video. I do briefly want to also mention to you how the waiver wire works, in case you were unaware as to how it kind of transpires. Because it's like a draft, but it's not like a draft, because there is a waiver order, and number 1 this year was also the Tennessee Titans. The Falcons were at 14. So whether a player is waived or released comes down to how much experience the accrued in the NFL. So basically, veteran players that have more experience don't have to go through waivers. They just become a free agent, can sign with whomever they like. In some cases, they may even return to their own team after further cut-down moves are made. The NFL defines an accrued season, by the way, as spending at least 6 games on a team's 53-man roster, physically unable to perform list, or injured reserve. Players who are cut and have less than 4 years of NFL experience are subject to waivers. These are the players who, based off of their experience, would have to be restricted free agents or exclusive rights free agents in a prior offseason or free agency, a.k.a. guys like Cobee Bryant or Nick Nash. They have to go through waivers considering they are rookies. So, at a certain point, if they were to make the 53 and spend a little bit more extended time on this Falcons 53, then they necessarily wouldn't have to go through the waivers. But at this point, they do and can get claimed by other teams. It just so happens that the Atlanta Falcons decided to pick them back up to put them on the practice squad. Does that make sense? Good. I'm glad we're kind of rolling along here as friends. Some notable departures because I haven't seen anything yet, so this is also subject to change if Chris Blair ends up getting re-signed, but Blair at the time, Morgan Fox I haven't seen anything about, and then also Kentavious Street, who is another player that a lot of different Falcons fans were like, man, I really thought he had a shot at making the 53. I was back and forth on Kentavious Street. I thought there was a chance that he could sneak in there, but at the very end of the day, it looks like, that wasn't the case for the Dirty Birds. And that's all we've got for you right now. Like I told you, as more comes in, I will let you know. Falcons fans, if you haven't done so already, like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe because we just hit 38,000. A little salute to you, my friends. Thank you so much. And as always, be cool.